Everybody to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, episode number 186. And coming up on this one, the Leafs snapped their losing streak with two big wins in California AA over the Kings and the Ducks. Nylander getting close to signing an extension. That's the word on the street. What's the ceiling for Auston Matthews this season? And we got one segment tonight. Took 30 goals to get there, but finally saved by the stash. All this and more coming up on episode 186 of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Emilio Estevez was looking all around it last night for the flying V for the Anaheim Ducks. Did he find it?
Of course.
Maybe, maybe not. We're going to let you know. If you know what we're talking about, great. If not, we're going to fill you in and let you know all about it. Did Estevez get his nose into some flying V action when the Leafs were in town against the Ducks? Here we go. Let's hit the intro.
Tavares coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy mackerel, they score! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel!
Welcome, everybody, to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Don't forget, you can follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Tip In Podcast on TikTok and Tip In Pod on Twitter or X. And when you're on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment. Was loving all the comments on the last video. So many good ones. So many. We said that Samsonov let in 5 goals, and it was actually 6 goals. And a lot of people let us know about that in the comments.
Of course.
We corrected ourselves about 10 minutes into the podcast, but people can't wait that long for the correction. So a lot of people were screaming at us. Yep. But I just wanted to read one comment to you here. I just want to get your reaction to this, see how you feel about this. But one of the commenters asked us if we'd be willing to change the name of the show because he thinks it's cringe.
Buddy, come on. Who you got the user's name on that one?
I don't have it. You can find it if you go to the last video.
I will find it. I'll be bringing that up next time. Yeah, buddy. Cringe. Figure it out. The Tip In, the greatest play in the history of professional hockey. There is no better play than a tip in on the ice or in the bedroom, bud. So give your freaking head a shake. The Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Get on board or get the fuck out of here. How about that one, Chad? How about that for an answer?
That's what I love. That's what I love. Anytime someone makes a comment about us changing the name, I just got to throw it by Dale because he gets heated. He gets heated about that. It pisses
me off. It drives me mentally insane. The best name in the history of podcasts, the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. You're not going to find a better Leafs podcast than the one you're listening to or watching right now. We guarantee it, or your money back.
Also,
and it's free.
Like, you should never use the word cringe. No, grown men shouldn't say cringe.
Well, who knows if it's a grown man or
that's true. I don't know. That's true. Could be a kid. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to some hockey talk. So the Leafs go out to California, eh?
Yeah, man. So
usually a dead spot for the Leafs. Don't play well in California. No. Probably 2 best games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
in Anaheim.
Going to get into the Ducks game a bit and the Kings game a bit. Obviously, the Ducks goalie stood on his head. The Leafs ultimately won it, but it shouldn't have even really been close. But the Kings game, very impressive. But let's start here. Let's start with Samsonov. Finally, so we did a podcast on when was the last podcast? I think Saturday after the game. I believe is when we did the last podcast. And we were at that point in time, Samsonov had not been put on waivers. We were expecting something to happen.
We did a whole a 30-minute segment on talking about Samsonov.
Well, it just needed, we won't be doing that tonight, but it needed to be done. But I wanted to touch on it off the top just to get your thoughts on. So they finally do put him on waivers and they bring up Hildeby. And it looks like they're running with Jones and Hildeby here until Wall can get it figured out. Or to get healthy. I mean, I don't see Samsonov figuring it out. I hope he does. I hope the best for the guy. I really do. But I don't see Samsonov in the mix here anytime soon. What are your thoughts on that whole thing briefly?
No, I agree. I mean, all season, we were talking about in the last podcast, but all season they've given him opportunity after opportunity to
Too many, actually.
too many opportunities. That's what we said in the last pod. He had his chance. He just had to right the ship. He could not get it going. He could not get right between the ears. Something had to be done and put on waivers and sent down to the Marlies the day after we posted the podcast.
Yep. So Hildeby comes up. Were you surprised that he didn't play, and Jones got all the first two games in the back-to-back, and he'll probably get the Sharks game too? What do you think?
I was definitely surprised that he didn't play in the Anaheim game. But then when I heard Keefe's,
he played, Jones played so well against the Kings, though.
Exactly.
And then they've got Thursday and Friday off. So, why not? I kind of see the.
I just thought because it's back-to-back. And normally, no matter what, you play another goalie in the back-to-back. Plus, it was Anaheim in the second back-to-back.
Yep.
But I like that he went with Jones.
I think Keefe was looking, I think he said, looking to build off the Kings game, try to get on a roll here. And, it worked. Like Jones, he didn't let any goals in against LA. He only let one in against the Ducks. So, he's our guy right now. So there's no rush is Hildeby going to play? Yes, he is. He will get game action, but what's the rush, right? I guess to counter that, it could be you play Jones of the 2 games in a row, back to back, in a back-to-back situation 2 nights in a row. So he tweaks something. Then we're talking about Hildeby and Petrozzelli. Right? So
that was my fear when I saw that Jones was starting. But I just exactly what you said. That's what Keefe said. And as soon as he said that, it made sense. He's like, we're trying to build on this. Jones is coming off a shutout. He didn't really think his workload, that's what she said, was that big against LA. So, yeah. And it worked out because, let's face it, I mean, they were all over Anaheim, but a couple more goals for Anaheim, they wouldn't have won that game.
Jones kept him in. Okay, we'll get to the Ducks. We'll get to the Ducks game here, and we'll get to Estevez in a second here. But let's start with the LA Kings game, man. So here's where I'd go here. So the Leafs had lost 4 of their last 6 games coming into LA, 3 games in a row. They were getting points in overtime here and there, whatever, but still, they hadn't won a game in their last 3 games. 3-0 win over the Kings. Nothing to sneeze about there, man. LA is one of the top teams in the Western Conference. I expect them, do I think that they're going to be the team that comes out of the West? I don't personally think so, but it's possible. I still lean towards Vegas. I lean heavily towards Colorado, but I think the Kings are in the mix, don't you?
Oh, yeah. They're having a hell of a season.
Big time, right? Big time. So a lot of good things. How about this? Trevor Moore, former Leaf, Trevor Moore. 17 goals for that dude. Did you see that? 17 goals for Trevor Moore, our old buddy.
Yeah, he's been good ever since he got to LA. He's been good. Did he
go back in the Muzzin Campbell trade? Was that? Yeah, it must have been because they haven't made
so,
it.
Yeah,
it must have been. Anyway,
I can't remember that far back. I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone 2-3 years ago. So
it's shitty to see that Campbell and Muzzin aren't around anymore, and you got Trevor Moore popping. He's got 17 goals, and he's probably going to score 25 or 30 goals. But anyway, whatever. And they've got him. He's not making a ton of money, but I digress on Trevor Moore. I'm just saying there, you got to give something to get something, and away you go. But the story of that game, obviously, Jones gets a shutout. Leafs win 3-0. William Nylander 2 goals, including an impressive empty netter where he powered past Drew Doughty to drive it right to the net. He probably could have popped it in from the red line or the blue line, but he said, no, I'm taking this fucking right to the empty net to put it right home. And the whole talk around the Leafs since we've done the last podcast, once the Samsonov thing cleared waivers, all the talk, Chad, has shifted to Willie Nylander getting real close, apparently, to signing a contract extension, potentially an 8-year deal worth 11 plus per season. Thoughts, Chad? Please, would love to hear what you got to say about this.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't really have many thoughts on it. A part of me thinks, well, that's too much money. And then a part of me is like, yeah, but 8 years.
He'd be the first guy to take 8.
Yeah, if he signs the 8 years.
Oh no, sorry, Riley. Sorry, Riley did. Riley did.
Yeah, Riley. But that would be my thought. And also, until it actually happens, I don't like this whole speculating. And,
But it's good. It's gonna happen, right? Like it's gonna happen.
everyone's reporting on it. Like everybody that is anybody in the hockey world is reporting that it's close, and
It's
that
gonna
they
happen.
want it. They want to get it done before the All-Star game, which is only 4 weeks away. So
They're not letting him walk for nothing, and that would be
No.
a gigantic mistake. But here we go. If it's 11.25, that's what the rumors were. I've heard some say it could be a little higher. Could it be a little lower? Maybe, but
I haven't heard that.
No, well, not really. But like, wouldn't 11 be just, you sign an 8-year deal worth $11 million? There's $88 million. That's his number. Like, can you not just, okay, like, he's doing commercials and he's doing TTC commercials and like,
It take
like
a little less.
like, come on, like you can't just like you need an extra $250,000 a year. Like you need 90 million. Like 88 million's not enough. Like, come on, man. It's just to me,
I know
it's
what
like
you mean.
you can't just take 11. You can't set like I know he's good friends with Pasternak, and I think Pasternak makes 11.25 and whatever. But like, come on, Willie. Like, come on, man. Like, can you not just be the first? It's not like you're taking a hometown discount at 11. Like you're jumping from 6.9, the best contract in the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs, maybe the history of the NHL. 6.9. I'm surprised he wants to even up his deal. Like,
No,
why
just-
wouldn't you do 3 signs
Hey,
for that?
that's a comfortable number, 6.9.
Best number, man. I would
Exactly
never
where you want to be.
Oh my God. I would never want a contract for a penny less or a penny more. 6.9 on the dot is where I would just sweet spot all over it. Sweet spot. Okay. But 11 million. So here we go. So, okay. I think it's going to happen. Is the price too high? The guy's killing it. He's got 50 points. Like he's a top 20 player in the league. He's a top 2 player on this team. I'm sorry, he is. I think he's surpassed Mitch. Gonna get your thoughts on Mitch and what this could mean in a second here. But here we go. You're gonna have Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, Marner, 4 forwards making $10+ million, man. Not too many moons ago, there was all this talk about a team can't win the cup with one guy making $10 million. We're about to have fucking 4.
Right.
4. But not long for Tavares. After next year, Tavares will drop significantly. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
But-
you'll be back to 3.
So we both agree the Nylander thing is going to happen. Is it too rich? Maybe, but it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen.
That's what they're saying that's going to
gonna
happen.
happen.
It
It's
hasn't
gonna happen.
happened.
He
I know,
wants
but
to
it
be
hasn't
there.
happened.
They want no, I know, but it's gonna happen. Like they're probably crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Okay, like it's gonna happen here. I guarantee it. He's probably trying to find a 6 and a 9 in there somewhere just to make it a little more interesting. But it's gonna happen. But
10.69.
So 13.25 for Austin. Let's say 11.25 for Willie. Mitch is making 10 point whatever, at almost 11 right now. JT is making 11. So there's your like crazy almost $50 between almost 50 million,
$50.
$50 million between those 4 cats next year. If this goes down with Willie, which I believe it will.
Yeah.
Where do you think that leaves Tavares? Where do you think that leaves Marner if Nylander signs that 8-year extension? What do you think?
I don't know. I think JT is going to, when his contract's up, he's going to take a pay cut because he's past his prime. So if he wants to stay in Toronto, he's going to have to take a pay cut and kind of finish his career out here. He could get big money if he went on the open market. Someone would pay him somewhere. He's not going to get
going anywhere.
He's not going to get $11 million again. Mitch, on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, if Mitch can have like the last couple season, Mitch has been one of the best right wingers in the league, right? This year he's not having quite the same season, but
nope.
I feel like he's going to snap out of it eventually. If he doesn't, and he has a couple seasons back to back that aren't that great, and let's say Nylander's ahead of him in points on the team, that's a really good question, man. Where does it go from there? What do you do with Mitch? What do you do with him? because
Don't know.
he's obviously going to want a pay raise, but he can't go into it like he did last time, being like, I want Austin Matthews money and or like a little less than that.
Let me throw this out at you here.
Like, is he going to go in and be like, I'm worth more than Nylander? And the team's like, well, Nylander's had more points than you the last 2 seasons.
Do you not think, depending on what happens in the playoffs this year, that look,
They don't give a shit what happens in the playoffs.
No,
they've been handing money out and they haven't won anything.
And look, I know Tree Living is going to be, pen to paper here, but Shanny's also got his name on these contracts. So don't kid yourself, anybody out there. And we already know the deal here, like how much say Shanny has.
Yeah.
Like, do you see any scenario where Shanny would be like, depending on what happens in the playoffs, if they bounce out in the first round and Mitch is not like whatever? I love the way Nylander plays. I think he's just gotten better. I want him to stay around. I have no problem with them signing Nylander long-term. No problem. The Marner thing is a little more interesting to me personally. I'm like, look, can this team win with Mitch Marner? Well, they haven't been able to. They haven't been able to win with any of these guys. But could they spend that money elsewhere? I don't know. Like, do you see any scenario? I guess what I'm getting at here is, depending on the playoffs and depending on a whole bunch of things, Shanny maybe wanting his guys to stay no matter what lack of success in the playoffs. You see any scenario where they move on from Mitch Marner in the offseason? Any scenario? No chance.
No. Not if Shanny's still at the realm.
What if he prices himself out? Like, just what if he wants more than Willie? What if he's like, okay, it's 12 it's 12 for me.
I think he is going to want more than Willie.
You can't pay Mitch Marner $12 million. You can't do it.
You don't. That's what I'm saying. It all depends on what's going to happen. I mean, if he manages to put up a 100-point season and then another 100-point season, then yeah, you could pay him 12. And he can make the case that he's worth that.
But you can't pay him 12 because look at what they're already paying.
The cap's going to go up.
Yeah, but not enough.
It's supposed to jump. Like next year, it's supposed to jump a little bit, but then down the road, it's supposed to significantly jump.
But dude, are we not just like snowballing here? Like, it's going to be the same thing. Only the 4 guys are. JT will drop down to maybe 5. Okay. But then all of a sudden, Nylander 11, Mitch 12, Austin 13. Like, I guess it evens itself out because JT will be dropping down. If
the cap goes up. If the cap goes up, then you have sort of the same amount of money to play with. My biggest thing is the short contracts. Like, I don't mind William Nylander making $11 million because
it's going to be an 8-year deal.
Exactly. By the time you get to year 8, the cap's going to be significantly higher, and he's still going to make $11 million. Same with Mitch. But for some reason, it's always 5 years, 6 years, 5 years, 6. It's never the full 8. So if Mitch wants that, I would say we'll pay you a little more, but you got to take the 8 years.
The next deal's got to be 8 years.
Got to be 8 years. I get doing it for Austin Matthews because he's like a generational talent, one of the best goal scorers in the league, best players in the world. He's basically just signing short-term contracts, always going to be one of the highest paid players in the league. But when it comes,
I'll tell you what. Sorry, before you finish your thought there, Austin's next one better be fucking 8 as well. Sorry. Like, it's about time it's about time. He got his 2 5-year contracts. Next one's the lifetime deal, Austin.
There you go. And what I'm saying is that's where I would draw the line with Mitch. That's where I would draw the line with them. Like, if you're going to argue about, I need to get paid this, I need to get paid that. Okay, well, then sign the 8 years. Sign the 8-year deal so that it makes sense for us. This whole 4, 5, 6 year thing just doesn't cut it.
Okay,
that's where I am.
That's cool, man. So I kind of am with you. Like, I think Shanny those 3 guys in particular, Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Tavares to an extent, but I think his money will be dropping. But I think you're kind of right. Like, win or lose in the playoffs, whatever, I think they're going to just give these guys the fucking money they want and just keep trying and hope that fucking maybe Florida gets worse and Boston gets worse and Tampa gets worse. And then finally it's going to be our fucking time. And I think you're right, man. I think that's probably going to be this, like, how it plays out here.
You asked me if I thought they would move off Mitch in the offseason, and I'll throw it back to you. We talked about it last year. Did you not think the last 2 off seasons, we both thought, well, they have to do something.
Absolutely.
Like after they got bounced in the first round, and then after their performance against the Florida Panthers in the second round last year, we both said, okay, this isn't working. But the band's back together, still playing.
But
so
it's
what makes you think that whatever happens in the playoffs this year, that
no,
Shanny
you're right.
and company's going to be like, all right, now we got to do it.
Like in retrospect, I'm glad they didn't trade Nylander. I probably would have been okay if they traded Mitch. Like if we had Mitch's money to spend on another different style forward and another different style defenseman, I think this team can win without Mitch. Don't get me wrong. I think Mitch does a lot of good things. Penalty kill. I know Mitch
phenomenal
is an
player.
player.
Phenomenal player.
But like, we don't know, like, could they win without Mitch? Like, I don't know. I heard someone make the example of like, the Vancouver example about talking about Bo Horvat, how like he wanted a ton of money and Vancouver management was just like, nope, not going to do it. Traded him, and he was their captain. And and now Vancouver's like, life moves on, and life is good out in Vancouver without Bo Horvat. They're one of the best teams in the West this year. So
yeah,
it's
most teams do that. Most teams don't fall in love with their players to the extent that the Toronto Maple Leafs do.
Dude, when JT left New York, left Long Island, they got better.
No, I know.
Like,
I know.
It's
there are teams that like are Florida won the President's Trophy, got bounced in the first round, traded their best player from that year.
Got better.
Got better. They went and got Matthew Tkachuk. They got better. Lots of teams do it. Vegas makes trades all the time, like, and they do nothing but win, and they just move on. And there's so many teams. Look at the Red Wings. Yzerman, he walks away from guys. He did it in Tampa. He does it in Detroit. Walks away from guys that want too much money. Life moves on. Team keeps winning. So here in Toronto,
that's a little scary. That's a little scary here, though, isn't it? Like, we're talking about all these teams doing things and be like.
It's a business. You can't fall in love with the guys.
No, I know. Train keeps chugging. Team gets better. New guys out, guys in. But this team, no, it's like it has to be these guys. Shanny's guys. It's got to be these guys. It hasn't worked yet. I'm not saying it's never going to work. God, I hope it works. I hope one day it works. I've taken so much shit about sticking with these fucking guys. I hope one day there will be a payoff here, but I can't guarantee that. No, you can't guarantee it. With these guys. Can't guarantee it, man.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. There is a very strong chance that come May, we're doing a podcast about them getting beat in the first round of the playoffs.
It's more than likely. Like, of course.
We're going to talk about it, and we're going to point out all the flaws and everything. But
we might as well not even say anything. We'll just be like, see you in the fall, because we know what's up. See you in the fall to try again.
The only consistent thing, because we've been doing this show since 2018, and the only consistent thing we do every year when they get knocked from the playoffs, we bitch and moan on the show and we talk about it. The only thing that has stayed consistent from that time is those guys. The goalies have changed, the defense has changed, the guys around them have changed, but those guys have been there the whole time.
Dude,
that's it.
Okay, so it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, we'll get much more into it. Let's move on to the Ducks game here. As the season progresses, we'll get into it, and into the offseason. I mean, it's just crazy. It's always about money. It's just always the money, the money.
We need to get off the salary cap. If you want a salary cap, got to be a soft cap. That's what I'm saying for the next.
Or push it right to 100 million, and let's just see what's up. Like, just push it to 100 million. Like,
well, the way they have it written is it's written by the growth of the league revenue. So if the league revenue doesn't grow, the cap doesn't grow.
I think the league's doing pretty well. It's got to be like,
well, that's why the cap's going to go up next year.
Like, you look at Vegas, you look at Seattle, like they're talking about expanding possibly again. I don't even want to get into that, but here's what I do want to get into: the Ducks and the Leafs. The Leafs end up pulling this one out 2-1 in overtime. The Ducks goalie, shout out. He was incredible. Before we go to it, though, Emilio Estevez, we've talked about this off the top. For those who don't know, he's an old favorite here on the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, the old Flying V. Chad used to think that the Flying D was a deke that Emilio Estevez taught the kids when they were doing the movies. That's what you used to think, right? Like, flying V formation, get that V cooking up the center of the ice, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first saw Mighty
But
Ducks, I was nine or 10 years old or something.
But what did I tell you that it really is?
Well, I still remember the day. So Dale was he was
Explain to the
I'll
folks what it really is.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. So
Gordon Bombay.
we all watched the movie, and Gordon Bombay stands on the bench and he says, "A flying V," and all the guys go behind the net and they skate up doing a V. And then we're 12 years old, and Dale takes me to the edge of the playground. He says, "Come here."
I got something to tell you.
He's like, "I got something to tell you." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, you know Gordon Bombay, Emilio Estevez, the flying V. I'm like, "Yeah, it's one of the best plays you can do in hockey, unstoppable." He's like, "Has nothing to do with hockey." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Takes me into the classroom, pulls out the VHS, and he's like, "Look at Bombay. He's not looking at the ice." I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, look at him." And then he's yelling into the stands, and right behind the glass, if you watch the movie, probably 6 or 7 hockey moms.
That's where they're all standing.
He says, so he's yelling flying V, and Dale says, "It's vagina."
It's vagina. The V
That's what it
stands
is.
for vagina in flying V. And
Yep.
the flying is the flying is Emilio Estevez. All he's letting the hockey moms know there by including flying in front of the V. He's basically just letting them know how much of a fucking freak between the sheets that he is. When he gets them back to the fucking penthouse condo, he's got sex swings set up all around the fucking condo. So he's got the V,
And he still
around.
still wears the leather Ducks jacket the whole
Fuck.
time.
He keeps the
I will
leather
say
jacket
this.
on just like Eddie Balfour in the shower. He keeps the duck on when he keeps the leather jacket on like when he's hunting and when he's deep in the flying V. That's for sure.
That day that you told me, I went home and I said to my dad, I'm like, this is what Dale told me the flying V was. And he said, "I cannot confirm or deny that."
Come on.
And that was it. That's when I knew.
No-brainer.
That's when I knew that was the truth.
So did the Leafs beat the Ducks 2-1 in overtime last night? Yes, they did. Did Emilio Estevez win? Did Emilio Estevez win or lose? Still get some flying V action? 100%. Yes.
Of course.
Every night. We got a segment, Chad, for the first time this season. You want to cue it up?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Saved by the Stash.
Cause I'm saved by the It's alright, cause I'm saved by the It's alright, cause I'm saved by the
Stash.
All right. If you don't know this segment, anytime Austin Matthews scores a beauty to win the game, the team is saved by the stash. And this
Can you believe it? Can you believe this is the first time this season that he has a game-winning goal? Isn't that crazy?
I know. 30 goals he scored and first game-winning goal. But before we even do Saved by the Stash, I mean, shout out to Dostal, the goalie for Mannheim.
He was awesome. 50-plus saves. He was incredible.
Unbelievable. Like, I watched the whole game, and
Leafs were peppering this fucking guy. He was all over it.
And incredible saves. Like, he stopped breakaways, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s. He stopped everything.
You know what I was thinking watching that game? Because the Ducks aren't a good team. You know what I was thinking watching that game? I'm thinking, Tree Living, you might want to get on the blower there and see if you can get this kid. Like, why not?
Everyone talks about John Gibson being available, and I'd be like,
nope. I'd take a stab at that kid. No, he was awesome. He was awesome.
Unreal. But yeah, Austin Matthews in overtime.
Dude, he had 13 shots on net or 14 shots on net.
He was all over it.
He could have had 4 goals in that game. No problem. Yeah. Tavares ends up tying it late, 1-1, like 1-1 late in the third, and goes to overtime. And the Leafs were just all over it, man. And Mitch made a nice play to get it to Austin to the side of the net. He ripped it home. 30th of the season. Saved by the stash for the first time this season. Man, have I missed Saved by the Stash.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was nice to see. It was just, what a game. Like, they go. I just want to say, like, they played LA. If the way they played against LA and the way they played against Anaheim, if they would just play like that is the thing that is so fucking frustrating about this team is you watch them play those two games where like they take on a team like LA, They don't back down to them. They didn't back down to Anaheim, who started to get chippy with them. They stuck to their game. They kept the goals low. You wouldn't lose to Columbus. You wouldn't lose to Buffalo. You wouldn't lose to Chicago if you just did half of that when you played those teams. And that's what makes it so frustrating, is to watch how good they can be and then have to watch them lose. Well, I know Samsonov was part of the problem during that time. But at the same time, it's just what they played so well against LA and so well against Anaheim. Just wish we'd see that more often.
Oh God, 100%, man. So anyway, his 30th goal of the season, his 8th consecutive 30 goal season, has never scored less than 30, but let's talk about this for a quick second. How many goals does he end up with, Chad, if he stays healthy? Where is this guy going for goals this season, in your opinion? It's got to be 60 plus, right? It has to be.
Well, if he plays every game from here on out, yeah, it's definitely 60 plus.
This guy looks like a fucking machine. Like he looks as good to me as the season he scored 60, maybe better. Do you think that's a stretch or no?
Oh, dude, he looks better.
I think he looks better than the season he scored 60. Like he looks dominant, absolutely dominant.
I want to look it up real quick because I just want to look up his goals, because the crazy thing about it is he's had streaks this year where he's gone like 5, 6, 7, 8 games without a goal and still has 30. So the fact that he's doing that makes me like, it's so impressive. Anyway, I can't find it. I wanted to see how many. I know he had a long stretch without a goal, and he still has 30.
I'm just going to put a number on it. You say over or under?
6'9"?
I was going to say 70. I was going to say 70.
Yeah. I'm going to say under. I think more around 65. If he plays every game from here on out.
I'm going to say under too, but maybe sniffing right around it. If he ends up with 69, legend, absolute legend, like the guy's not already. But anyway, incredible. What can we say? Saved by the Stash. Love doing that segment. I can't believe it's been so long. But anyway, couple quick things, but I've only got a couple quick things to hit on. So like 5 minutes left. We want to take a quick second and hear from our lovely friends over at Brazzers. Chad, would you like to throw to that?
I would love to. Let's hear from Brazzers.
Chad, what's the matter?
Well, Dale, I guess I've just been feeling a little down, because like I love podcasting, but I find there's something missing. There's got to be something else that I love other than just podcasting.
Chad, wipe those tears away. There's only 2 things I know how to do. I never get down. I love podcasts just as much as you. The second thing I love is porn, but not just any porn, specifically Brazzers.com.
Brazzers.com?
That's right, Brazzers.com.
What is it?
Take a little sneak peek at Brazzers.com. Why don't you bring it up right now?
I can't look at this on my computer. Is there any way I could watch it in private on my phone?
Absolutely. Privacy settings galore. Brazzers.com has all your pornography needs.
Well, this is great. I am so much happier now. Brazzers.com. Thanks, Dale.
You're welcome, Chad. Brazzers.com.
All right. So, what do you got?
Hey, folks, beat those winter blues by taking a little trip down the rabbit hole that is Brazzers.com. You will not regret it. The absolute unofficial official sponsor of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Right. Brazzers.com. Absolute beauty.
That's right. Beat those winter blues. Also beat something else. What do you got?
That's right. Okay. So you think Jones plays on Saturday against his former team, the Sharks? Hildeby. Why would you go with Hildeby there, right? Keep with Jones. He's led in 1 goal in his last 2 games. You go with Jones again, right?
I think so. You have the 2 days off. There's no reason not to. And he didn't really get a lot of work in either the LA or Anaheim game. So
Exactly. And then 2
Yeah.
days off. And so
Yeah.
Jones, I think, as well. Quickly
Jones.
here.
and then
which
San Jose is coming back to Toronto to play on Tuesday.
that's very interesting. So
Do
maybe
they fly
maybe-
together? Or how's that work?
no, I don't think so. But
I know.
you know who will? There's going to be someone special making that trip. I'm not going to mention his name tonight, but next podcast, I think you know who I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I know who you're talking about.
But we'll just get in Estevez tonight. We got another cat, former
Our
friend of
boy.
the show, coming up. He likes flip flops taped in duct tape. I'll tell you that. There's a little secret. But anyway, we'll be seeing him. I can't wait for that next podcast. Gonna bring up this guy, Benoit, bringing it in the physicality department. Is he a great fighter? No. But is he afraid to get into it? No. So I just wanted to take a quick second and just get your thoughts on Benoit, because he's kind of fallen into my good books. I don't think he's great out there, but he's doing an adequate job, wouldn't you say? And
Yeah.
I've been told that many times in my life. Adequate, not great, but adequate.
Yeah, you get the job done, or you do it the best you can.
That's right.
At the start of the season, we were pretty hard on Benoit, but he was pretty bad.
In
so it was kinda
preseason,
justified.
yikes.
But I am starting to really like Benoit.
Yeah,
Not
they got
not
back
so
there
much.
physical, right?
Yeah, not so much when he has to make a play with the puck.
No,
Not the best, but he's in there. He's not afraid of anybody.
no, he's not.
He's dropping the gloves. He's getting beat up, but he's
What up?
dropping the gloves and the mustache. And is it a neck guard or a turtleneck that he?
No,
wears?
he's wearing him and Bertuzzi are the only two
What?
guys on the team that are wearing the neck guards.
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
that's
have
a
a problem.
smart idea.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So yeah, Benoit, he's getting into my good books, and I mean, I will give Tree Living credit for both him and Legason, because those two came in with a pretty bang. Like Samsonov not playing the best, those two came in and they've done a pretty adequate, as Dale likes to say, adequate job at holding up that blue line. Like those are some good moves by Tree Living for depth players.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I like
So
him.
yeah, I just wanted to touch on Benoit because we don't talk about him first. We don't bring him up because it's just not a thing, right? But I
No,
think
he's
he's
been
been
I thought-
impressive.
I thought the whole team was really physical on this road trip, like more so than I've seen in a while. Like
Standing up for each other. Austin got knocked down the other
Dubois
night.
hit him, and
Yeah, I can't stand that guy.
he has a thing for Matthews, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
He
am
just
not a
hates
fan.
Austin Matthews.
Not a fan.
But
of
like
Dubois.
after that happened, Mitch got in there. JT's was getting in scrums and doing
Yeah.
things. Willie
to see.
kind of.
Yeah, it's good to
Yeah.
see, man. It's a good sign.
Bertuzzi's really taking a turn. He's really feisty and this is the Bertuzzi I thought we were getting at the start of the year. Maybe he's just become comfortable. Anyway, they've looked really good on this road trip.
Yeah, and I
Both
think
like-
Bertuzzi has been better, but I still think he's got a lot more to give.
yeah, but at
and-
least we're seeing signs that it's there.
100%. So I'll leave you on this one, Chatty. Not sure if I just happened to catch this on social media. I didn't know this personally, but I think this might be something good to end it on. On this day in 1988, Borja Salming became the first European player to play 1,000 games in the NHL. How about that?
Congrats.
Absolute legend. The former Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman, the late, great Borja Salming, the first European player ever in the history of the National Hockey League to play 1,000 games. And it happened on this day in 1988. That's all I got for tonight, Chatty.
That's right. And wasn't it? I think it wasn't around this time or that the big Doug Gilmore trade happened.
It was a couple days ago. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, all the
Like New
history
Year's
happened.
Day or something like that. Or
Was it New Year's
January
Day?
2nd.
And it was 90, 91, 92. I don't know. It was sometime around that.
Yeah.
All good things. But yeah, have you watched the Borja Salming movie?
Not yet.
Salming. I haven't seen it yet.
It's not a movie. It's a series. It's not a movie, is it? Or is it a movie or a series?
Well, whatever it is, but it's like
Oh, okay.
it's not
I
like a
haven't watched-
documentary. Like there's a dude playing Borja Salming.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I know it's on Crave. Whatever. No, I haven't.
Is that where it is on Crave?
Yeah, it's on Crave. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. No, I don't have anything else. You?
No, that's it for tonight.
All right. Well, for
That's
the
it.
Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, and special thanks to Emilio Estevez and the Flying V. You can follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. On Twitter, Tip In Pod, and TikTok, Tip In Podcast. You can email us tippingpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, I'm Chad,
I'm Dale.
and we will.
We'll be back after the Leafs Sharks game on Saturday night to break it all down. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Go Leafs, go, baby. Let's go into the Shark Tank and keep this thing going. Catch you guys later.
Catch you later.